How's it going, Top Forest TV? My name is Jack and welcome to a slightly different video from me on the channel. So recently Dan's given us a list of key questions about the season so far that he would like us to give our opinions on, give our thoughts and our answers to. So, if you see me look down, I've got them written down here. The first question on the list is captaincy. Now, I think in terms of the captaincy, obviously Graben's our captain at the minute, but personally, I don't really see him as a sort of a leadership figure. I don't really see him as that guy who's going to bark the instructions across the pitch. And for me, I think the captain should probably be Arthur. Arthur just looks like a ready-made leader. Just looks like someone who's able to bark his instructions across the pitch, guide players through games. Like his partnership with Yates has made him flourish. And then looking a bit more long term, I could really see, Worrell or McKenna having the armband strapped to their bicep. I think McKenna looks like someone who's a really imposing figure, someone with a lot of leadership qualities, as does Joe Worrell as well. And, in terms of captain, I'd probably say at the minute our captain should probably be Harry Arter. I'm not too sure that Graben really fits the characteristics of a captain. I think Arter's probably nailed on captain for us. He does get injured a bit too often though. He's been injured a couple of times and he's only been at Forest not even a half a year yet, which is a shame. But I think long term it could be Worrell or McKenna. But I think at the minute it should be Harry Arter. Now the next question is about Lyle Taylor's turn up in form. How's that going to have a impact on Graben? Now obviously, as we know, Graben's yet to find the net this season. He's yet to score and he's looked like a striker with no confidence whatsoever. Missed some huge chances in games recently, putting the ball into the side net against Rotherham. Had a hatful of chances against Bristol City, didn't score any of them. And really, I think Lyle Taylor has cemented himself as our first team striker. He's got ice in the veins, like we saw with that penalty against against Coventry in the last minute. Took two fantastic goals against Wickham. So, I think this upturn in form for Taylor is not Graben off the first choice striker list. I think, obviously he had such an amazing season last year, getting 20 goals in a team that was really defensive. You've got to remember that. We weren't a free-flowing attacking team that get forward and get chances, served on a plate to your strikers every 5 minutes. We were having 1-2 chances a game, and he did really, really well under Sabri. But I think Lyle Taylor's come in, he's had two exceptional performances, and with the current form of Lyle Taylor, you can really see him staying there. Obviously, I love Graben. I think he's a brilliant striker, but he's just not on form at the minute, and you can't afford in the Championship to play players who aren't on form because they were good last season. You need to play those players who are doing the bits, and Lyle Taylor is doing bits right now, so I think he deserves to start. The next question: how do I feel Chris Hughton's done at Forest so far? Well, only one loss so far. A handful of 1-1 draws, but I'd rather have 1-1 draws, which under Sabri probably would have been 1-0 losses, and then 2 wins on the bounce and a win near the start of his tenure. I think it was the first game of his tenure, a 1-0 win away at Ewood Park. So yeah, positive. I like the changes he's made with the team. Ryan Yates looks like an absolutely new player under Chris Hughton, a lot more sensible. He just looks like a different player, He looks a lot better. The defence looks more assured, which is strange to say because Sabri was more of a defence-first manager. But we would always concede, see last-minute goals, see goals in the opening 20-25 minutes of games, which cost us. You look at this season, Kiefer Moore's early goal against Cardiff, 2 early goals for Bristol City, so he's really shored up the defence. And I've noticed a real sort of a bit more of hard work. Like we lose the ball, we get back into shape. Players are off pressing. He looks like he gets us into that, that 4-2-3-1 shape. Gets us back where we need to be. Make it hard for them to string a counter attack. And he's getting traps of players just pressing. You look at that Luton Town game, which was on Sky. The kind of throwed. We could see. I was watching Dan's live stream and he was commenting on it, I was commenting on it, the way it was pressing, forcing them off the pitch, forcing them off the touchline, really making it hard for them to really get a grasp of the ball, then start a counter-attack against our team. It's really good and I really am impressed with that, and I think You know, I really like having a manager who knows what he's doing. He's been around the game for a very long time. He's been around in this country managing for years and years, and you know, I'm really happy with what he's done with the boys so far. The next question is a central midfield partnership. Now, it's a really difficult one because I really like Harry Arter, but again, like I say, he's injured at the minute and he picks up small, like minor, you know, knocks and niggles. And I think, you know, if he was fully fit, he'll be nailed on starting every week. But you know, if we're going with everyone's fit and our best centre mid partnership, he's got to be there now. It's either Colback or Yates, and I really like them both. I think they're fantastic, and I think they work well together, like we've seen recently. But I think if I had to pick for me, it would probably be Yates and Arter. They just sort of work a bit better together. I think it will either be Yates or Colback, or Yates and Arter. Like Yates and Colback work fine when and when Arter's you know, not fit. So I don't know. It's either or. It's either Arter or Colback, Arter or Yates. But I'd probably say Arter and Yates for me. I know that was not very conclusive. I was to and fro in there, but I think for me, Arter and Yates probably the best. I think Yates looks a lot better under the sort of leadership of Arter. It's a bit more level-headed, if you will. Centre-back partnership. Now, that's a difficult one because we've currently got McKenna and Figueiredo, who look really good together. We're yet to see McKenna and Worrell together. You know, Figueiredo's looked really good partnered with McKenna recently, but with Worrell coming back from injury, it'd be interesting to see. Is he going to go with Worrell? Is he going to stick with Figueiredo? Personally, I'd like to see Worrell. I think Worrell and McKenna will be an absolutely tremendous partnership. You know, my Football Manager for Forest are absolutely excellent at the back together. But yeah, I think they'll be an absolutely tremendous back two, if you will. But Figueiredo's done really well at the minute, and you can't just take him out because, you know, Worrell's back. He's been excellent. He's put in some brilliant performances over the last couple of games, so it's going to be hard to push him off the perch. But I think if we're looking at our strongest side, I think McKenna and Worrell could be absolutely fantastic together. But at the minute, you can't knock Figueiredo off, so I'd say Figueiredo and McKenna. And then the last question is about Alex Mighton, and he's looked positive when he's been given the minutes. You know, under Sabri he came on, he was an attacking light. He was electric, he was running at players, and I would like to see more of him. You know, hopefully he doesn't get limited time like Apaya and then get picked off by a Spanish team or a Portuguese or whatever, an English team. I don't know, but I'd like to see more of him. He looks really interesting. You know, he looks really lively on the ball, really makes defenders have to think. And you look at that Chelsea game at the beginning of this year, it seems so long ago now, in the FA Cup, he was incredible. You know, we should have had a penalty from him, but it was ruled out for offside because he'd basically done that with his arm to the point where he wanted it to be. Yeah, still not over that. But anyway, yeah, he looks exciting, looks really lively, and I'd like to see more of him. You know, whether that be from the bench when defences are tired, or be that from the start. You know, if we don't get Knockout back from loan, maybe we could throw Mighton in the first team. But yeah, definitely think he needs a few more appearances off the bench first before he could be really thrusted into that first team. But yeah, I think to have him off the bench when the defence are tired in these big games, you know, we've got some tough opponents coming up, so he could need his explosiveness off the bench. And yeah, I think that'll be really interesting. So yeah, that is all the questions from me today. There should be some more videos from some of the other guys on the channel answering these questions coming up soon. So yeah, if you did enjoy, smash the like button, subscribe to TFTV and TFTV Extra, and come on you Reds.